Yeah, welcome to another edition of the M365 FM podcast. In this episode, we walk with Vesku Nopan about how Microsoft Copilot, AI agent, Loop, and Copilot Pages co-work are changing the way we collaborate in M365 from practical adaptations lessons to future AI workers. This conservation, yeah, okay. This conversation explores what modern work could like over the next few years. So, welcome, Vespa. How are you?
Hey, thank you, Mirko. I am fine. And yes, we have a quite a packed agenda agenda there.
Yeah, it's a real cool topic, I think, and there comes a lot of new stuff with Copilot Co-work, I think. But before we start, will you a little bit introduce you for, I don't know, it could be that someone didn't know you?
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of people who don't know me. But yeah, and thank you for introducing me to the show or inviting me to the show. Yes, my name is Vesa Nopanen, and everybody calls me Vesku. I'm a principal consultant for future work at Sulava Mia, MEA. And yes, I work with AI a lot. Microsoft 365 Copilot and everything related to that. And of course, Microsoft AI is on my desk during the daily work. And I live in Finland, in Turku. So, and it's now late spring here, so it's getting warm even in Finland. So, so that's a chance. This is the best period of time, like in the year, of course, when it's getting warmer, getting greener. So there's light. So after the dark and cold winter, this is kind of hey, summer is coming finally.
Awesome. You've been talking about AI and collaboration long before Copilot became mainstream. What fascinating you yeah, early on this topic?
Well, yeah, yes, I have been talking about those for quite some time because AI has been always there. It's been there a long, long time, as we know. It's been there since 50s as a term. So AI is not a new thing, but of course, how we are able to utilize AI in our everyday work, like everybody can utilize it. That's the new thing. And of course, these capabilities the these new models have been giving to the AI. They're just expanding on the possibilities what we can be doing. And yes, it has fascinated me for since I don't even well since I was a kid probably because I loved sci-fi and science fiction and stories and seeing okay what AI can do in bad cases and of course in good cases. So of course I'm focusing on those good use cases. Um, and on the work side, and that's how we are seeing the AI today. But it's still a tool. People can use it for good and bad, as we know. But it's our, of course, what we do is we are aiming and teaching and coaching people how to use AI at work, of course. And yeah, it's I've been always fascinated with the AI and how it has been how is I'm not saying I'm going to say just okay how it started to appear in Microsoft 365 has been quite a interesting road. You had first the little things. Of course, we've had AI embedded in applications for a long time. We've seen AI in Word, like okay, here we have the spelling checkers and so on, and it has evolved from simple AI to very complex AI in just a kind of a few years. But with natural language models appearing, then it started to really get tractions and use cases kind of beyond what we were originally perhaps even thinking.
Yeah, you say sci-fi, Star Trek or Star Wars?
Yeah, Star Trek, of course. What do you think?
Yeah,
I've been always a Trekkie,
I'm
but I do
also,
love Star Wars as well. So
yeah, it's both
both.
okay. Yeah, I think I'm also more a Trekkie. Star Wars, it's okay. Yeah. but I love all Babylon 5 and all this stuff. Yeah, we have gone from uh, a team first collaboration to AI first collaboration. I think very quick. What changed from your perspective?
Well, of course, what enabled this has been the capabilities of AI that it can do these things. It can do these things quickly as well. So we don't have to kind of put the task to the AI and then it's working behind the scenes and comes back next day with an answer. So that would not be AI first approach. But instead, we can utilize AI quickly all the time in our work, but also that it's affordable as well. So it's available for us. You may have a Copilot license, and hey, there you are. You have lots of fantastic use cases available for you, and uses how you can utilize AI in the daily work. And of course, well, since I'm working with Microsoft ecosystem, it's very easy for me to kind of um, talk about how you are using AI when you're using Microsoft 365.
Oh,
So and so in there, AI has been embedded in applications, but now it's becoming more and more aware what you have been working on. So it has this general understanding of what you are working with. So the new technology name is Work IQ. It has access to your, of course, to the data you have in Microsoft 365 and can utilize that. And with that, it's easier to use AI or I'll go AI first because hey, it already knows more or less of what I know or what I do, what I'm working on, who am I messaging with, what meetings I've had or what's upcoming. So it can you can very easily spar with the AI on that. And of course, it's there all the time. It doesn't have other meetings. It doesn't have lunch breaks or downtime usually either as well. So you can have that conversation with the AI and ask it help anytime. But what's really also changing now, it's just not asking.
mm,
So when we are working with the AI, we are expecting AI to do things as well.
mm,
So instead of being just your sparring partner, it can still be that it's of course what we use it for. We want to brainstorm ideas, but then when you want to start taking action out of those brainstorms, the AI can help you. So it can start to generate, of course, those presentations that match your company style. It can start creating those Excels, or perhaps you need it to start creating, hopefully in the near future, tasks and so on. But
mm,
depending on how you are using in which application, it's able to utilize those applications and create those things as well. And it's starting to see more and more big picture about what we are doing, so it can better answer the needs.
mm. And yeah, I think at the start, a lot of people wasn't so happy if they launched Copilot. What was your first reaction when Microsoft announced or launched Copilot?
Now you are going to the ancient history part. Like, all right, it's not that many years, but it feels like that. And so a lot has changed since those days. My first impressions when it was launched, of course, I was excited about that, and we have already seen by that time what GPT models can kind of do, and it was just a very early beginning in that. Now, when we look at that, those capabilities, those were really they were not that like good, and they were very limited when we compare to what we have now.
Mm,
So first impressions, I was really kind of fascinated and then curious, interested about that, and then seeing hopefully the potential there as well, and then hoping, okay, how this will answer the promises. And yes, we know it struggled. Copilot, when you got to start to use it, it was very limited to what we were probably expecting. But now what we have today, this is starting to show to show, okay, these are the capabilities. Okay, this is like what we were kind of promised back then, and even more as well. And you already said the word co-work is changing a lot of these things, and for the better.
Yeah. Before we deep dive into Copilot, did you think organizations still underestimate how disruptive AI inside MC65 will become?
Underestimating those, yes and no. Some organizations, they may not be that kind of convinced yet, okay, what the AI can do. But then I also see organizations who are probably, or at least individual people who are overestimating, okay, what AI can do. And typically, I would say some of the business people are that's kind of when they have been kind of they've gotten an impression AI can do everything, and then when you go to talk to business people who think AI can do everything, then there's really no limits on what they think. So, but the organizations typically, yeah, okay, what's going to be the change? But I think uh, the more kind of the very big or kind of a big, I'm not saying issue, but the thing is that organizations underestimate how much change management this needs.
Mm.
Because some people can think, okay, just give them AI and they will start utilizing it, and hey, everybody is very productive with AI. That's not going to happen. So people need change management, and organizations need change management and change. They are not going to jump from traditional working together or ways of working to AI first ways of working without change management, because they need coaching, they need training, they need use cases, they need kind of examples and how to utilize AI, because otherwise it will be just hey, uh, I don't know what I'm doing there. Or if they are interested, they might learn a lot of ways how to use it. But if they are busy, filled up with their ordinary work, they don't have time, or perhaps they don't have motivation to go and discover their use cases and how to use it, then AI will be just another tool they would have to use, and they never have time for another tool.
Mm, I think they have these Microsoft has its buzzwords Copilot champions. I think that this is one of the concepts I think they use, but I'm really understand that a lot of people not so, I don't know, familiar with AI, and they think it's take my job and so on, and don't see it as a productivity tool. I think that's a risk. But you have mentioned Copilot Co-work. Is this the new AI teammate, or what this concept mean to you?
Well, co-work can be called by many names, of course, but it's an agent in Copilot. Of course, it's based on Anthropic co-work. So that's practically the same tool, but brought to the Microsoft 365 environment. And but yes, I would be calling co-work as your AI teammate, because it can do actions. So while Copilot was quite simple, and yeah, and is still meant for more simple tasks. It can it's not kind of a planning through tasks and executing them, unlike what co-work is doing. So when you give it multi-step instructions, and give a background information, your goals, and what you need, you can really describe that quite lengthy. You don't have to start splitting your, okay, what I needed to do to little tasks, but you instead can just tell it about your goals and your needs, and what it should be doing. Perhaps you're explaining the process, and just like you would do again for the intern or new employee, and then it can go ahead and start doing its work. So it will be able to reason over the data, it will plan how it's going to progress, and finally it will then start taking actions. And it's not limited to single the single application like perhaps like Copilot in PowerPoint.
Mm,
You can utilize Copilot there, but when you are utilizing Copilot Co-work, it can generate and understand PowerPoints. It
oh,
can generate and understand Excel files, Word documents, PDFs, your messages, or through Teams and Exchange and so on. And so it has access to the wide area of tools as well. And then it will be able to take multiple kind of numerous actions in those tools as well. So it's really up to us what we are thinking. Okay, what it should be doing,
mm,
but it will need instructions.
mm,
It's still an AI. It's a tool, but it's better on working through these instructions. And one thing I think Copilot is different from ordinary Copilot. So Cowork is different from ordinary Copilot is that it can understand those instructions and constraints you are giving it. It will follow them much better than what, for example, Copilot is doing
mm,
at the moment, at least.
mm. There are also, I think there's co-work, then is there, I think, worker IQ, and what's also new, they have a lot of new buzzwords. Uh, what's Copilot skills? What are the difference both these three concepts?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of buzzwords, and you will get um, the when we are recording this, it's still end of May, and Build is still ahead of us. So there's probably going to be new buzzwords at Build as well, and then again at Ignite. So yeah, we will have buzzwords, and basically things are renamed and reorganized um, at a much faster speed than ever before. So that's one reason we are getting it. It's quite hectic, and also because there is this one more buzzword frontier program at my that people can join. So we are in people who are in the frontier will be getting these changes first. So in frontier, a lot of things are living back and forth. Like there will be new tools and new names and name changes more than the normal end user or knowledge user would be receiving and seeing. But yeah, so the work IQ is it's the let's say plane or platform or how would you say describe it, where you can where these AIs can discover information that's relevant to you. That's your work intelligence. It has access to the um, to everything like through Microsoft Graph. And we learned earlier from Copilot that hey, it's using Microsoft Graph to kind of fetch information, and we've been the Graph has been there for a very long time. But the Work IQ is building on top of that, so it can um, basically reason out of that data better than just plain what Copilot was doing, and it was doing a pretty good job there, to be honest. So, so Work IQ is just going to be the layer. That was the word I was looking earlier. So the layer between your requests or when an AI is starting to get information from Microsoft 365. And you mentioned skills as well. Well, that's more human oriented. We had the people part and skills, and that has been living quite a lot recently. But it's basically the way you can start telling your organization and of course AI what kind of skills you have. So it can populate those some or suggest those automatically, and then you can confirm and edit your skills. So your professional profile is going to be more complete. So when perhaps AI is starting to look people who could be helping you out with something, it can utilize these skills. Again, that's not nothing new for organizations generally because they are always usually had some kind of skills matrix about people, what people can do, and that this is going to be just within the Microsoft 365 and how AI will be able to utilize that information as well. And I think you did mention third to a name there as well, but I that slipped my mind. Can you remind me?
Mm, uh, what I think as company, I have all I don't know all these options, but I think did we have a new era of how we thinking governance in the Copilot co-work area?
Well, how you want to think about that? Of course, you want to make sure that your data is secure. So you need to go through the Microsoft 365 security and data protection part. So you will be needing the data plus prevention, sensitivity labels, rules there, what should be happening. So you can protect the most essential data. Okay, these are some of the data is maybe something that you don't want AI to even handle or have access to, and so you need to go through that. Of course, organizations should have done that already several years ago. But now with the age of AI, they are realizing perhaps, okay, this is something that needs to be done. So there are still quite traditional ways what you are when you are working with organizations, because you have to just use these tools and start classifying your data and thinking about, okay, how we are going to be managing what's allowed, what should be done there, so we can govern to where Copilot or AI has access to.
Mm,
So that's one important topic. And when organizations are starting to leverage uh, AI and moving towards the AI first work, they will need that. They need to do checkings on well, IT level as well. So, okay, what's our readiness? What we should be configuring? What we should be changing? And every change requires usually some change management for end users, so people know how to utilize these options and tools when they are working. So it always goes to the people and how you are prepping up people to change the way they are working, and not just to repeat what they've been doing 10 years, and start working in ways, okay, now when I'm doing something, AI can take benefit of that information and help me out when I'm working on something. So instead of putting your files to your hard drive, you are putting them to the cloud where Copilot can access them, and thus of course co-work as well. So there's a lot of, let's say, traditional IT work still involved there.
that is interesting. I think a little bit about um, are there, I think, yeah, or have we tasks that should always stay humans, and what kind of tasks are perfect for AA delegation right now?
Well, there's well, I think every organization should think about the responsible AI path and generate those guidelines, and also help people to understand where and when, or at least where they should not be applying AI. So what are good tasks for the AI? What tasks are not good for AI? And but generally, I would say that kind of a that kind of decision making is basically human's job. AI is there to assist you. I'm not saying that every minor decision would not be AI or like would be human only. But when we think about, okay, we need to make larger decisions, we need to make decisions that require empathy, or you have to have some soft skills there, and an understanding of the bigger picture. We still have to remember AI can make mistakes. It's a lot better than it was a few years ago. in that part, but it still can hallucinate information, and uh, and it can still misinterpret that information as well. So they don't necessarily understand the full context because they can get confused if they're getting information of the similar, uh, out of the context, but it still feels like, okay, this could be in this context. They get confused at the result, and especially it will affect how they are making decisions. But however, you can still use AI, of course, to assist you with the decision making. And we know every organization is different one. So we know that banks are and financially are institutions are doing these loan decisions automatically. So that's AI, and so they need to have quite a good and hopefully they have responsible AI uh, guidelines for what they are following, and then following the responsible AI there. So they need to be transparent about, okay, how this happened, where the AI was used, and think and remember the responsible usage in there. So sorry, you are not getting a clear answer there because there isn't like a line that you can cross, but there are things that are definitely on that human side when you are making those certain interpretations of the data. Perhaps because AI is always working on the data. If it doesn't have all the data, it doesn't know it doesn't have all the data unless that has been somehow included in that process, so it would have a chance of knowing if it's missing out data or not. But perhaps something has happened in the world just overnight, and AI doesn't have any idea. But human, when it goes to human's desk, and okay, we need to decide on this, and they can relate. Okay, we just heard about a lot of things changing during the last night, and we have to take a look at that and how it's going to affect. Um, so yeah, so there's got to be more and more decision making by AI, of course, uh, uh, but um, but there's going to be still decisions, a lot of those decisions that will go through humans, and I think that's a good positioning on AI, that it's going to assist us make better decisions faster, and making sure that we have the relevant data when we are then doing the decision.
Mhm. So have we also rethink how we handle knowledge management in companies to get better results? Or
Well, this is changing a lot of, or should be changing a lot of organizations as well. Well, we every one of us is going to be an agent boss. We will have AI teammates that we guide. So that's one thing, and then are we going to be managed by AI? I don't. Well, not directly at least. Um, but AI may be collecting information about based on whatever metrics and usage and whatever we utilize, and then providing that information to our superiors, and they may then guide us, of course, how to work better there. So the pace is going to be faster, of course, and everybody needs to utilize AI so we can, well, keep up the pace. We won't be able to walk through it. Okay, we need to fly, and the AI is going to be our rocket there. So enabling us to collect and manage and handle information in much more faster pace than before. And for management, yeah, it's going to bring challenges,
Mhm.
and perhaps some organizations will be less hierarchical in the future. We don't know. We at Sulava, we are changing our organization as well to become better suited for AI first and AI native work what we are doing. So perhaps not just replacing everything, but more, every organization needs to think: do they need to restructure the way they are doing things so they can fully utilize AI in more phases than before. And that's a big change. And that change is going to affect a lot of people. And then organizations need to be prepared for another, yes, change management. There, they need to adapt to these new ways of working, and their people are going to need help.
Mm,
But at this, they will need the people.
mhm. There are, I think, when I train AI, and I have so many options in the Microsoft space. I have OneNote, Loop, Copilot Pages. I think it's something new. I don't know, notebooks, uh, SharePoint. W- uh, where should we store the information, and how we can get a good oversight where we find what or how Copilot should use information?
Yeah, yeah, that's a question a lot of people are struggling.
Mm.
But I think it's also up to the organization a bit.
Mhm.
Some people, like key people in the organization, should be aware about these all new tools and products that are available and what are their capabilities. And they could be instructing people again. We are back to the change management there. Is is how what these which of these tools should be used and when, or at least provide some guidelines for employees. So not every employee has to go through making those decisions. Then if that happens, then information will be scattered all around at the Microsoft 365. If we are lucky, if we are unlucky, they are using their shadow IT tools for that. Um, but let's stick to the Microsoft 365 and tools you mentioned. So Microsoft is creating new tools, and some of the tools are going to be and more AI native as well. Like the way they are constructed, how they are storing information is making it also easier for Copilot to utilize that information as well. So one of those these new capabilities are Copilot Pages and Notebooks, and they've been there for some time. Well, I mentioned Loop. Well, Pages and Notebooks are based on Loop.
Mm.
They are using the Loop framework there, and the platform, and utilizing the same resources. So the Copilot Pages is something that you can use to materialize your conversation result with when you have it with Copilot. So you can generate a page copy information there, and it's just a loop page in that sense. You have the same capabilities as loop. So that's the place. Okay, I'm having this conversation. So instead of me copying everything manually to somewhere, I'm just putting it to the pages. I can ask Copilot to create do something and create a page already about that. So I don't have to even tell it to move that information to pages, but instead it's just, hey, I need you to create a page about this, so me and my colleagues can start edit it. So instead of, for example, I have the results, I go there, create a Word document, paste everything to Word, and whenever something changes with Copilot, when I'm talking up again, copy pasting that to Word. Well, that's something you can do, but I think then you save your Word somewhere and invite your colleagues to collaborate with the results. But it's kind of feels like, okay, you have some extra steps there. So that's where Copilot Pages kind of jump in when you can, hey, I'm going to put this information here, invite my colleagues already. I don't have to copy paste that information. And I can still work with Copilot to ask it to add content there, edit content. Uh, for example, it could be asked, okay, restructure this document or my page so that, okay, it's rewritten in a certain tone totally. And when you are in a certain level of the result, then you continue working there in Word by asking the tool to convert the page to Word document. So I think that's kind of a spot where it hits on. But yeah, you can think about, okay, what about I could be doing that in OneNote? Well, yes, but you would be copying that information to the OneNote page and doing it there. So and Copilot in OneNote doesn't have all those capabilities like what you can get through the Copilot itself and when using Copilot pages. But then the notebooks are the newest of these, and notebooks is used to kind of collect information to the, let's say, to the scrapbook or folder.
Mm,
So I have this scrapbook about something, a topic, and then I collect their information that's relevant to that topic. Perhaps it's a project, and I going through some planning on, okay, how we are going to, what kind of configuration we need to do for our Microsoft 365 environment so we can utilize Copilot safely and securely and so on. So that would be IT for notebook for IT people, and they could be having conversations with Copilot, generating pages to the notebook or adding existing pages to the notebook, then perhaps adding some external links there and documents and so on. So you
mm,
get all that information to the one place, and
mm,
then use Copilot to reason over that data. So it would be similar like you have, yes, you could do this in OneNote mostly. So you have one notebook where you have sections, you have pages, and then you collect that information there. Fine. That's the same thing. But the next step is that when you start to use AI to reason over your notebooks and or the data in your notebook, or you are getting that summary automatically, you can generate even an audio brief of that notebook. What is this all about? And talk with Copilot about that contents of the notebook. They're adding new pages, so that's when you start to realize, hopefully, that you are using AI all the time when you're working there. With OneNote, you are working like human first approach. You are creating those pages there. You are copying the links there. Yeah, yes, it's good for some. It has a very good structure. It has the sections, and you can put pages there, and so you can have um, good notebooks there, and collect the information, and the sharing is easy to external users is easier than with Copilot notebooks, and but but it's still okay. It's a very old way of working. And nowadays, we have started to see to the OneNote application, you can find the Copilot notebooks there. So they are coming closer in that sense and supporting both ways of working.
mm,
OneNote has a really long history, so I don't. I would be surprised if they kind of remove that product. And it has a tools and capabilities that the notebook doesn't have. So that's when you have to kind of think, okay, which tool to use when, in what kind of scenarios, and have those clear. But but a lot of organizations are using both because they can have different usage even when it feels at first glance that they are overlapping and badly. And kind of they are overlapping, but they are not overlapping fully. So you can think about, okay, what is the need? And of course, it's making using OneNote doesn't mean that you won't be able to utilize information everywhere, because Copilot can understand OneNote pages at least. To be honest, I don't remember right now. Can it understand the OneNote notebook concept and everything there? But at least the pages were there.
I think Loop are, yeah, a long time there was Loop, and now Loop gets a little bit more famous through Copilot. And you are an MVP. I don't know if you're permitted to speak about, but do you think Loop becomes the new center of collaboration in the future?
Um, Loop is going to be basis for different tools, definitely. Like Copilot Pages is based on Loop. Copilot notebooks are based on basically Loop workspaces. They are getting new features there, but the technology behind the scenes is there. So and the loop has the benefit because it's based on on the loop framework is that you can, when you are updating information, it can be simultaneous. So it's really truly synchronous work. Like when you are working with uh, Microsoft Word, it's fast to sync. Or if you have 10 editors, it's fast to sync, but it's not as fast as loop because it's the loop is instantaneous. And the way you are sharing you can share those pages as components directly to Teams chat. You can drop them to the whiteboard. You can put them to the email, and work in the same at the same content from everywhere. So that's the power of loop. So loop has these capabilities which Copilot Pages can then leverage on. And if you are working with OneNote, or you have been working with shared OneNotes, and OneNotes typically, we, at least I have noticed that there has been a lot of synchronization issues with OneNote. So the syncing OneNote, that's not as fast, it's slower, and
Mm.
so on. So loop is loop going to be the new collaboration tool? No, not directly, but things based on loop will be there. I would not be surprised if, for example, Word would get loop capabilities there. It's a different way of they are storing things, so I'm not sure that would happen. But as the idea, why not? There would be a word that's going to be utilizing the power of loop when it's generating information, or when you are editing documents and so on. So just kind of an example of where it could be utilized. Well, we have seen the loop components in planner plans
Mm.
now. So AI can generate those. Uh, the planner agent can create task results, generate content to the loop component, and then you can take it further and edit it, or you can ask it for to generate a weekly summary, and it will be a loop component as well. So embedding this content kind of, well, I'm not saying content management, but these collaboration capabilities into different applications where you can work with AI and you can work with humans at the same time, at the same context, and in the same place. So that's why we will be seeing loop and more and more. But it's going to be probably a while before it's kind of changing any of the bigger the applications. But using loop as kind of the powering framework there, that's or platform, that's what I would kind of, I don't know if I'm, oh, well,
Mm.
that's I would say, okay, that might happen, but so let's see if that happens.
Yeah. But yeah, but then we work a little bit from an, I say classic document thinking to an dynamic knowledge space thinking, and is this the future for your perspective?
um yeah, of course. Let's say if the loop capabilities would be in Word, then a lot of Word capabilities would still have to be available, or basically all these capabilities that work currently in Word. And so that's probably not going to be the first application that's going to get that update or change. So yes, we need still traditional document management. We still need that those kind of refined processes. For this, we need to have the version controls. Well, Loop has those as well, but we need to be able to manage in many different ways. So and when we are creating that content, and of course there's Copilot in Word as well that can co-create information with us. They edit with Copilot, earlier known as agent mode. That's of course it's able to generate and change content in Word directly. and it can also do a lot of things like you can ask it to change headers and footers. So you are getting more and more AI capabilities directly into these applications as well. But so AI can be there, but it's not just going to be the loop.
Mm. Um, okay. When a little bit think about what all change, so can you give a view? How do you personally use Copilot in your daily work?
Well, how I use Copilot in my daily work? Well, for a lot of things, like of course I use it to collect and discover uh, ideas. Like when I'm creating something or updating something, I need to get up to date about information. Yes, I am using Copilot and co-work of especially as well nowadays to kind of to get me the information. I like co-work because it can generate those multi-step tasks,
Mm,
and I can just put it running there, and I can then do something else.
mm,
Or I can open another co-work session and ask it to do something else as well. So they would be running in parallel when I'm doing something else. So I don't have to kind of go through questions and answers all the time or ask smaller things. But Copilot is there to help me out. Okay, I may want to start and go through the customer requirements or checking out okay how this would be matching my thinking or of course asking it to generate the first thought of those results. But Ian, when we talk about Copilot,
mm,
it's there are different Copilots.
mm,
So when I'm talking about with Copilot chat, so I'm just having this conversation there. I can have these questions and answers with the sparring partner and checking through documents, summarizing information or giving me information throughout different M365. So that's where I use it quite a lot to kind of to stay up to date about things and making sure that I have the recent version or when I'm discovering information, I need that too.
mm,
But then I'm using when I'm working with the Word document or PowerPoint, I'm of course using Copilot in those.
mm,
Uh, but but usually, so when I'm starting to work about a new presentation, for example, then I will these days go to co-work directly. So I will use co-work to gather the information, the spar to with the information to get all the information I need for the presentation, to discover perhaps some existing presentations and so on. And then I will ask it to generate the first draft using our Sulabamia templates.
mhm,
So and it's getting a lot better there all the time. So you will need to create some personal skills there. I use it to stay up to date. So for example, to collect information about what's happening in the world of AI and deliver that to my email every day.
mm,
And yeah, it's coming to email, not to Teams, but we still still need email for something. And it's really easy to read it from the phone. Then when you have just the email there, I don't have to go through my Teams messages to read it. And it's just something. Okay, what has happened? And I have another agent for that as well. And that's collecting information from Microsoft 365 roadmaps and message sender together and giving me a summary about what's happening. So I can stay up to date more or less because there's a lot of changes going, even when you summarize about what's going on. So those are a couple of examples, but and one more I want to emphasize is that because I'm doing a lot of demos for customers, Mm. and we all know how difficult it is to come with a demo scenario or those prompts or documents that are required. For example, hey, I need a new industry. I have now, let's say I'm getting a and well, let's use the oil industry or that's a finance where I'm talking to. And last time I was talking to so IT, for example, and create use case examples. So the easiest way to get started is, okay, this is what we already know. So I can generate customer specific um, demos quite fast. So I can ask it to generate documents, Excels, PowerPoints, PDFs that support this. I've used it to generate conversations to the teams. So I can just, and in that case, I had to use copy because I wanted that to be in demo environment. But with co-work, I could ask it to start sending messages directly to teams as well. But so if I used co-work in the demo environment, I would probably post at least some of those um, directly through the co-work. But since I want to have a conversation in Teams, I'm using a couple of demo accounts and so on. But point is, um, co-work can generate those scripts for me. So it can generate, okay, post these things. There's now a guideline, like a something reasonable about the demo, some code, some tasks that I can go through. And it will suggest some prompts for me and that I can use with those documents it's created. It has really changed the way I'm doing demos
Mm.
because earlier I had like usually you just can generate at the bare minimum for demos, but now you can have like multiple documents. You can have kind of conversations there, and just copy paste that information to the demo, and then I'm basically ready to go. Test run it first, of course, but it's still kind of quite quickly ready to go. And it's can suggest kind of for example, okay, what you are asking from those documents, because cowork can understand why very large concepts. So the context understanding is a lot better. So and of course it applies the other way around. The why I do those is that customer can see, okay, this is how you could be using cowork. So it could analyze, okay, we have this. Have you ever tried to generate a demo document with 20,000 lines to
No.
Excel? But you can do that easily with cowork.
Okay.
So then you can answer questions like, okay, we have a lot of information in our Excels. Can this manage it? Yes, there's 20,000 lines in that Excel, and I can ask for it to provide the information from there. And of course, how you want to do it, or you want to demonstrate edit with Excel there and edit with Copilot in Excel, and then you can get that similar experience. Okay, yes, it can reason over that data and provide the results. The cloud models have changed. Anthropic cloud models have changed this very much.
Yeah. Thank you. This was an awesome session. And thank you for your time. Um, can you? What is the one thing that people should take away from our session today?
One thing, try co-work. Copilot Co-work. I think that's the biggest thing at the moment, and or try it through Claude Co-work, and but anyway, hopefully through Copilot Co-work, and because yeah, it's just it can provide fantastic results, and it can fill in the it's starting to fill in the promises like Copilot had in the minds of people for a few years back, and it can get a lot done. So that's why I would say, yeah, use it to organize your inbox, for example, or organize your files on your OneDrive. Like I had the screenshots folder, and I wanted to organize it so that I can still find some of the older screenshots. So I wanted to be in the monthly folders there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the session. This was really great. So bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.